And on this Tuesday, July 8th, 2025 edition of Newsmakers, crews have kept up the search for people missing in the aftermath of last week's catastrophic flooding in Texas. Jennifer King reports.
Hope is dimming as searchers comb piles of tangled tree limbs, mattresses, refrigerators, and mud, looking for victims of Friday's flash flooding in the Texas Hill Country. The disaster brought out hundreds of volunteers, like Jesus Gomez, a firefighter from Mexico who's been using his swiftwater search and rescue skills to help reach inaccessible piles in the middle of the river.
It's hard, but first responders, we're a different breed pretty much.
Jason Sabala is a volunteer with Project Grit, who's helping clear debris in Center Point.
I mean, it brought me to tears many times just thinking about, as a father, them being, they're helpless. And so that was a big thing for me.
Makes us fun to get a fire going.
At a park in Houston, people gathered to sing hymns in a memorial for Camp Mystic, the summer camp where over 24 girls and counselors died. Texas Governor Greg Abbott will take an aerial tour over Kerrville and visit the camp again today. Audio from Houston, courtesy KTRK. I'm Jennifer King.
The Internal Revenue Service agreed in federal court yesterday that churches and religious organizations can endorse political candidates and still maintain their tax-exempt status. The agreement came after the national religious broadcaster sued the federal agency over its rules regarding political activity. This challenges the Johnson Amendment, a 1954 rule barring tax-exempt groups, including churches, from political endorsements. Yesterday, the IRS and the NRB asked a Texas court to stop enforcing the rule against religious organizations. The group argues the amendment violates their First Amendment rights. In 2017, President Trump signed an order to limit its enforcement, and Republican lawmakers have since pushed to repeal it. A judge late yesterday temporarily blocked a provision in the newly signed Republican tax and spending cut bill that would have ended Medicaid payments to abortion providers for 1 year. The lawsuit against Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was filed earlier in the day in Boston by Planned Parenthood Federation of America and its member organizations in Massachusetts and Utah. U.S. District Judge Indira Talwani issued a temporary restraining order that prevents the defendants from enforcing the cuts and requiring them to ensure, quote, Medicaid funding continues to be dispersed in the customary manner and timeframes to Planned Parenthood Federation of America and its members. Plaintiffs argue that allowing the provision to take effect would have devastating consequences nationwide. California has rejected the Trump administration's proposal on transgender athletes. The proposal would have required the state to apologize and restore awards to girls who lost sports titles to trans athletes. It also would have required the state to notify school sports programs that receive federal funding that Title IX, a federal law banning sex discrimination in education, prohibits trans athletes from participating in girls' sports. U.S. Education Secretary Linda McMahon posted on X yesterday that the California Department of Education and the California Interscholastic Federation, a governing body for high school sports, said they would not agree to the recommendations. The state education department did not immediately respond to a request for comment, and the federation said it does not comment on legal matters. The Trump administration unveiled the proposal last month after determining California policies allowing athletes to compete on sports teams that align with their gender identity violated Title IX. The federal government gave the state 10 days to change its policies or risk imminent enforcement action. A new Associated Press NORC poll finds most Americans do not want the government to focus on increasing birth rates, despite efforts by the Trump administration to make it a priority. Instead, the survey says people want the government to focus on reducing child care costs and improving maternal health. The survey reveals only 12% think encouraging more births should be a high priority, while 62% see it as a low priority. About 3/4 of adults view child care cost as a major issue, with support for policies like affordable daycare and paid family leave. Fertility treatment costs are also a concern, with nearly half favoring insurance coverage for such treatments. And that's Newsmakers for this Tuesday, July 8th, 2025 edition. I'm Keith Black.